Spring is here? Well, baseball is anyway, as the Yankees train at Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The world champs will again rely on pitcher Whitey Ford and reliever Louis Arroyo, joined this year by Robin Roberts trying for a comeback as two rookies, Lintz and Tresh, try for shortstop. That big gun Mickey Mantle is hoping for another big season, as record buster Roger Maris is. Maris and Mantle, they'll trigger the Yankees' big guns. Speaking of guns, the Colts expect their 45s to speak for them in their first year in the National League 10-team circuit. Coach Harry Kraft and manager Paul Richards are optimistic about their infant club as they keep a weather eye on pitcher Jim Umbricht, who has as a mound mate little Bobby Shantz. Dick Farrell is another pitching hopeful, and the Colts are also relying on men like Jim McDaniel up from Denver, who's also sharp in the field. The Colts may not wind up in first division, but they'll be hard to tame. It's 4 years since the Giants reached San Francisco from New York, and despite players like Kuhn, Mays, and the Alou brothers, they still haven't reached pennant heaven. This year, with pitchers like Pierce, LeMay, McCormick, and giant newcomer Don Larson, they hope to grab that precious bunting. Larson, remember, pitched that perfect World Series game for the Yankees. Harvey Kuhn hopes for a batting comeback, while the incomparable Willie Mays has no worries. The new Mets are bringing National League Baseball back to New York with an added attraction. Old Professor Casey Stengel himself to talk things up. He admits his pitching is weak, but he has men like Roger Craig, ex-Dodger, and a former Cincinnati player, Jay Hook, to build upon. Felix Mantilla and Charlie Neal are a double-play combination, with another ex-Dodger, Gil Hodges. The Mets are showing some preseason prep that should raise the expectations of New York fans. Anyway, they have Casey.
High school, and we were doing a project about famous players from Grays Lake. We were wondering if you could answer a few questions for us, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Awesome.
Tell me your name.
I'm Noah Bolins speaking.
I'm Dylan Solzer. I'm Prahlad.
And I'm Kyle Allen.
See?
Okay, so
And what year are you in school?
we're all juniors.
You're both juniors? How many are there of you?
4.
4, okay. And you're on a speakerphone?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We were wondering what it was like to.
This is just,
Here.
okay.
Go ahead.
We were wondering, what's your greatest accomplishment in high school baseball, do you think?
Well, let's see. I think my senior year, I can't remember whether we won the conference or we did very well in the conference anyway. But it was a really good year. That in what would that have been? 1954?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Most likely.
Before your grandparents were born.
Yeah.
Go
But I
ahead.
played football, basketball, and baseball.
Oh, yeah, we saw that in the yearbooks.
What we got here?
Yeah, they still have your guys' yearbooks from the years you were in high school.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
So,
So,
are you guys in sports?
Yeah, I'm the only one. I'm Kyle. I'm the only one that plays baseball here.
yeah.
Back then we had a very good baseball coach.
Yeah.
His name was Paul Subject.
All subjects.
He's passed away now, but he was the math teacher and also the baseball coach.
Oh, really?
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
And he was terrific. He really cared a lot about the guys and he had good discipline with the team and was a good baseball guy.
Do you have any friends that you played with in high school that you're still in contact with?
No, I don't.
It's unfortunate.
We live in northern Michigan now,
Yeah,
up near Traverse City.
Yeah.
Huh?
And I think they still have some kind of a class reunion, but I haven't attended it. But at this age, there are a lot of people that aren't around anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Would you mind telling us? Well, you got the first win in Mets history. Like, what was that like?
Well, that was probably one of the most enjoyable things of my baseball career.
Yeah, I bet.
Because the Mets were a new team in 1962.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1958, the Dodgers went to Los Angeles, and the Giants moved from New York to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't a National League team in New York for like 4 years.
Yeah.
And when the Mets were formed in 1962, it was really a big deal for New York because it was National League Baseball coming back to New York.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And the Yankees were there, and the Yankees had very good teams.
Yeah.
And the Mets that first year was the worst team in professional baseball. It's still, I think, that's true. And so, we lost a number of games before we won one. And on April 23rd, 1962, we were in Pittsburgh playing the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they had won, I think, 9 games in a row.
Yeah.
Or 10 maybe, and we had lost 8 or 9 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And so, winning that game was a big deal.
Yeah.
That must have been very exciting.
So, what are your thoughts on going straight to the major league? How did you adjust?
Well, I signed a bonus contract in 1957. And so I had to go right in the major leagues the way the rules were then.
Yeah, we saw that.
If you got signed for a bonus of more than 20,000 or something like that, you had to go right in the major leagues. And so that I signed like in August or early September, so I had to join the Cincinnati Reds right away. And so I joined the major league team right when I signed.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I pitched a couple of times. The last game of the season, the Milwaukee Braves, the Atlanta Braves were still in Milwaukee then, and they had clinched the pennant. And I started the last game of the season against the Milwaukee Braves.
Oh, wow.
And I pitched 5 innings and didn't give up any hits. I had a no-hitter going in at the end of 5 innings. And the manager was a guy by the name of Bertie Tebbets. And he came up to me and he said, "Kid, you're too young to pitch a no-hitter. I'm taking you out of the game."
Really? Wow.
And really what he wanted to do, he wanted to look at a couple of other pitchers, before the end of the year. So, that was kind of his way of saying, I'm taking you out. But then they changed the bonus rule at that winter.
Okay.
And so then the next year I went to spring training with the Reds, but then I got sent to Nashville, which was AA.
Okay.
And then I was called up to the Reds at the end of that season, the last month. And then the next year I went to spring training with them again, and they sent me to Seattle, Washington, which was AAA.
Well, actually,
And
Mr. Hook.
At mid-season, there was the manager was a guy by the name of Fred Hutchison, and I was pitching very well for him out in the Coast League. And when he got called up to replace the manager of the Cincinnati Reds in like July, he called me up right away from Seattle to the Reds. And that way, the rest of that season, I was a starting pitcher with the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay. Mr. Hook, could we